You know what, though? If we're talking effect, let's talk about Godzilla.
Yeah.
He looks incredible.
Absolutely.
And bold choice. His first appearance, it's daytime.
Yeah.
That's never happened before.
No.
They wouldn't have dared to do that in 1998 because he would have looked like...
Much worse than he did.
He would have looked like an N64 character. Like a sprite.
Just all polygons.
Yeah, all polygons, exactly.
Face of Super Mario. But he himself looked incredible. And I think what helped was a lot of the time you would see him from the ground perspective or where the humans were standing. Like there wasn't a lot of, until the end, shots where you pull right back and you see him. Mm-hmm. So you really got a sense of scale.
Yep.
He is enormous. Like in the other Godzilla, he seemed to change size.
He did, yeah.
And he probably didn't change size, but it felt that way because sometimes it pulled right back and sometimes it's in and sometimes he's right next to Matthew Broderick or whatever.
Right, exactly, yeah.
You know?
That's true, yeah. I think they got the Godzilla scream right.
They absolutely
That was
did.
Pretty intense.
You do a pretty good Godzilla scream, don't you?
That's it, right?
Nailed it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
What about the Muto?
Yeah, look, I didn't think that design was that interesting of a monster.
But
comparatively, he was less impressive than Godzilla,
Yeah.
but I guess that's the idea.
He struck me as a combination of the Cloverfield monster and... Well, we've just had Pacific Rim.
We have.
And it was odd, I thought, that he had an electromagnetic pulse weapon. And that was a huge plot point of the last one, of Pacific Rim, is that one of the monsters developed an electromagnetic pulse weapon.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly
And
it.
I think we did discuss this.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say, yeah.
It's one of the first movies, I think, where somebody has employed an EMP and nobody has had to explain to us, the dumb audience, what an EMP is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's an electromagnetic... Well, it produces an electromagnetic pulse...
Within a certain radius.
With a certain radius that disrupts all electronic devices within a certain rate. Right.
But that would mean we'd lose all the computers and communications.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why it's a problem for us.
Yes. We know it. We know that's a thing now. We know that's what it does because we've seen dozens of movies where
I think the first time I was exposed to that in a movie was Ocean's 11.
Yep.
And I immediately get that.
Yeah. I'll never need to have that explained to me ever again. If they're going to explain an EMP in a movie, they should say, look, it's an electromagnetic pulse and it shuts down computer systems like in all those movies you've seen where somebody uses an EMP. And then the people in the movie would go, oh, that's right, I live in the world, I've seen those movies, I get it now. It's interesting, they didn't necessarily talk down to us throughout the course of the movie.
No.
Like when the female Muto gets pregnant, we see that it has some sort of egg sac.
Yeah.
They don't go, oh, it's going to give birth to lots more of those monsters.
That's a really good point.
It's going to overwhelm the world. I certainly hope Godzilla destroys this thing because otherwise we're all in a lot of trouble and it will cause our extinction. Right? We get it.
Yeah.
We see how much damage 3 monsters can do.
Yep.
We know
We've seen Aliens. We know what a nest of monsters
We know what a nest
does.
of monsters is. We know that if there were hundreds of them, they'd probably destroy us all.
Yeah.
So we get it. We understand the stakes. We don't have to explain the stakes.
Really good point.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
This movie's maybe better than I realised.
Yeah, I know,
now
right?
that I talk about it. Now, what I found really odd...
Yes.
Not odd, maybe you could... This is something that I found amusing. At the end of the movie, Godzilla and the Muto fight in San Francisco and they batter it to dust.
They do.
Like, there is very little left.
Yep.
And then when Godzilla does the thing where he kills him, which we'll talk about in a bit.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole other thing. He leaves the city and everybody cheers.
That's
But
true.
if I was there, I'd be like...
What happened?
You had a big hand in that.
Yeah.
What just happened then? You are equally big as the other one. Why are we cheering for you?
Exactly.
They don't know that that other one laid eggs.
Yeah, in order to cheer for Godzilla, everybody in San Francisco would have had to have all the military intelligence that we had seen to know that Godzilla was hunting the monsters to stop them.
Yes.
But they don't know that.
No.
As far as they know, 3 giant monsters have shown up and have just flattened the city. You're right. Yeah. Let's talk about destruction, though.
But as you said, though, if Superman can flatten a city and be called a hero,
that's true.
Why can't Godzilla?
Yeah, exactly. That's very true. If we're talking about destruction, good, solid destruction. Great. What I thought was interesting is that a lot of people died.
Yes.
Like, it wasn't a case of everybody got to shelters very quickly.
Some people got to shelters.
A few people got to shelters. There's a scene in Hawaii where Godzilla comes out of the depths.
Yeah.
And in order to take on these monsters, and I thought that was good, where physics took effect, where he got out, he came out of the ocean, and it caused a tidal wave.
Yeah,
but it was interesting. I thought that the little girl sees that the monsters, the Godzilla's arriving.
Yeah.
Her and her mum and dad run away.
Yeah.
They get in like a store. They close the door, and then we just see the tidal wave just batter hundreds of people, presumably to death. There's no way all those, it just swooshes past this tidal wave, and it just gathers hundreds of people up in its wake. They all drowned or were crushed to death. There's no way out for those people.
The atomic breath, though. I know one of your things going in was like, I only want to see the atomic breath. Nothing else matters.
Because as we know, and if you haven't seen the 1998 Godzilla, a classic Godzilla from the Japanese version has sort of an atomic fire laser breath.
Yeah.
That's an iconic part of him. All the spines on his back light up, and then he breathes this fire.
Yeah.
And in the 1998 Godzilla, we were sort of we see him breathe fire in the trailer, and then when we go in, there's no fire breath. He just screams really hard near a gas main, and there's some fire, and it was bitterly disappointing. And I hate everyone involved in that film.
I've just got here. Look, it does everything a Godzilla movie should do.
I thought you were going to say it does everything a goddamn Godzilla movie should do.
Yeah, I've got it. It does everything a Godzilla movie should do. Eventually, it eventually does it. I think next time, if they do a sequel, they're going to have to speed that up. Mm-hmm. Because they've now revealed what he can do and the battles or whatever.
And that's pretty much it. I also thought it would have been good to see some kind of sort of additional scope, like some sort of preview of another monster that maybe is on the way for him.
Yeah.
Like maybe we've humanity somehow awakened more of these creatures.
Like Shaq, when Shaq... No, Barkley.
Charles Barkley.
Barkley fought him.
Yeah, exactly. Like Charles Barkley takes in the post credits, he takes a potion. He's like, this is a refreshing energy drink for
good old Charles Barkley.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, no, and then he starts growing out of his his house or whatever.